Here we are in Regent's Park, home to the world-famous London Zoo. But we're about to enter a part of the zoo never seen by visitors. It's the mating laboratory, known colloquially as the Shag Lab, where pioneering experiments are conducted in animal reproduction. Today is a special day in the Shag Lab, for it sees the bringing together of what are likely the last two surviving members of their species. Hopefully, they're of opposite sex, but this is not certain. Indeed, zoologists know very little about the Indonesian Bazumbi, even something as simple as gender. One thing they are sure of, though, is that this fine pair of Bazumbis have never met before. The supposed female was born in captivity in northwest England, the only surviving member of the Great Chester Bazumbis. This morning, she is to be introduced to the supposed male, flown in from Borneo last month. Who knows what will happen when they meet? They may mate, or they may kill each other. Or perhaps first mate, then kill each other. And perhaps we'll hear the famous Bazumbi mating call, a sound described with wonder, but never yet recorded. The experiment's about to start. I'm with the team, observing from outside the research pod known as the Love Parlour. Inside, the pod is silent, empty, and dark. Optimal breeding conditions for animals who live mainly in caves. There's a high degree of anticipation in the Shag Lab as the male Bazumbi waits in the main pod enclosure. A door is open to the second cage where the female sits, seemingly bored, scratching her groin. Oh, she's perked up. She's smelt the male. Her breathing has quickened. She's moved forward towards the doorway, towards the male. She is emitting a guttural noise, a rhythmic sound. Is this the notorious never-yet-recorded Bazumbi mating call? Maybe, but it doesn't seem natural. It's something else. It's not an animal sound at all. No. Wait, could this be? Oh, surely not. Yes, it is. It's the Big Muddler! Varied morsels of oral delight. Aha! Welcome to the Big Muddler, and what a show we have for you today. A variety pack of tasty treats, and we all need variety. So, enjoy the show.
If you were the only girl in the world, and I was the only boy, nothing else would matter in the world today. We would go on loving in the same old way. The Garden of Eden just meant for two, with nothing to mar our joy. I would say such wonderful things to you. There would be such wonderful things to do if you were the only girl in the world, and I was the only boy. Thank you. Welcome.
Ah, heritage. It's time to cherish a jewel from the past. They're old, they're creaky, They need some love, so tell them every day those listed jokes. We've got a chestnut for you today. You'll probably have heard it, and if you haven't, you're in for a treat. So let me set the scene. We're in a posh girls' boarding school in the 1950s, and today there's a special visitor. Yes, war ace Douglas Bader is here to tell the girls about his exploits as a fighter pilot in World War II. We catch him halfway through his talk. So, there I was, up in the kite at 2,000 feet, and I look in the mirror, and behind me, coming up fast, is a pair of Fokkers. And I look out on the right wing, there's a Fokker too. And over on the left, another Fokker. At which point, the headmistress interrupts and says, "Now, girls, I think you should realise that the Fokker is a type of German aircraft." Bader looks her in the eye and says, "Be that as it may, madam, but these guys were in Messerschmitts. They're old, they're creaky, they need some love, so tell them every day those listed jokes." I'd like to introduce you now to Denzel Rumpo, our West of England correspondent. We tend to leave him to his own devices, though actually he lives near Falmouth, and he's not actually much of a journalist, more of a storyteller with a flute. Yes. Over to you, Denzel. That's the lovely sound of the Cornish flute. And when I'm home in Mylor of an evening, I likes to serenade the creek with a melody of my choosing. Some say this draws shoals of mackerel in from the Carrick roads. Others say it drives visitors away from the Pandora Inn. I don't care. Us Rumpos have been summoning fish and scaring emmets for generations. Anyway, most evenings, the time comes when I lay down my flute, dust off my tape recorder, and prepare another story for you. Are you sitting comfortably? Then here's the tale of a man called Ernest, who rode a cart selling milk. He also loved a woman called Sue, but that, sadly, was his undoing. You could hear the hoofbeats pound as they raced across the ground, and the rattle of the wheels as they went round and round. And he galloped into Market Street with his badge upon his chest. His name was Ernie, and he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Now Ernie loved a widow, a lady known as Sue. She lived all alone in Lily Lane at number 22. Some said she was too good for him. She was haughty, proud and chic. But Ernie had his cocoa there 3 times every week. She said, "I'd like to bathe in milk." He said, "All right, sweetheart." And when he finished work next day and loaded up his cart, he said, "Do you want it pasteurized? 'Cause pasteurized is best." She said, "Ernie, I'll be happy if it comes up to my chest." That tickled old Ernie. And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Now Ernie had a rival, an evil-looking man called 2-Ton Ted from Teddington, and he drove the baker's van. He tempted her with his treacle tarts and his tasty oatmeal bread, and when she saw the size of his hot meat pies, it darn near turned her head. He went on the make with his Dundee cake, and he said, "If you treat me right, you'll have hot rolls each morning and crumpets every night." He knew she'd swoon at his macaroons and he'd have his wicked way, when all Ernie had to offer was a pint of milk a day. Poor Ernie. And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. One lunchtime, Ted saw Ernie's horse and cart outside her door. It drove him mad to see it was still there at 4:30. Jumping down from his van, hot blood through his veins did course, and he ran across to Ernie's cart, and he didn't half kick his horse, whose name was Trigger, who pulled the fastest milk cart in the West. Now Ernie rushed across the road with his gold tops in his hand. He said, "If you want to marry Sue, then fight for her like a man." "Oh, why don't we play cards for her?" Ted sneeringly replied. "And just to make it interesting, let's have a shilling on the side." Then Ernie pulled him from the van, and beneath the blazing sun they stood there face to face, and Ted went for his bun. But Ernie was too quick. Things didn't go the way Ted planned, and a strawberry-flavoured yoghurt knocked the bun from out his hand. Now Sue, she came between them. She tried to keep the peace, but a volley of stale rock cakes smashed Ernie in the knees as he doubled up in agony. The concrete-hardened crust of a stale meat pie hit him in the eye, and Ernie bit the dust. Now Ernie was only 52. He didn't want to die. And now he's making deliveries on that milk round in the sky, where customers are angels and ferocious dogs are banned. And a milkman's life is full of fun in that airy fairy land. But a woman's needs are manifold, and Sue, she married Ted. But strange things happened on their wedding night as they lay in their bed. Was that the rustling of the leaves, or the creaking of the gate, or Ernie's ghostly gold tops a rattling in their crate? They won't forget Ernie, and he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Blimey, I could do with an ad break now. Hey, Nonny, are you planning for retirement? Don't bother. Come to Stratford and sort it out once and for all. We're Shakespearean Endings, part of the Zurich Exit Group, and we offer personalised final solutions. To be or not to be? We've got the answer. We've helped thousands shuffle off the mortal coil. Or why not choose our Primrose Path to Dalliance plan, with 4 weeks in Bangkok and courtesy colonics? Death will have his day, and that's every day at Shakespearean Endings. What's more, we've taken the sting out of death with handy prepayment plans. So don't be the coward that dies many times. Come valiantly taste of death but once with Shakespearean Endings. Terms and conditions part of Scottish Widows. Payment in advance. He that dies pays all debts. More dramatic exits may be stageable. Sorry, no refunds.
So I was walking down the street the other day and I saw a sign, and the sign said, "For sale, talking dog." And I thought to myself, I need a dog. So I knocked at the door, and a guy answered the door and he said, "Yeah?" I said, "About the dog." He said, "All right, go on. He said, "Go on, in there." So I walked past him into this room behind him, and I went in, there was nothing in the room. So I looked back and I said, "What about the dog?" At which point I heard a voice behind me in the room saying, "That would be me." And I turned round, and in the room now there was a collie. And the collie looked at me, and it moved its mouth, and I swear to you, it said, "That would be me." Now, I don't know about you, but I've never been in this situation before. And maybe because of my embarrassment, my shyness, or just surprise, I didn't really know what to say. And in retrospect, what I did say was perhaps not that sensible. So I said, "So you can talk?" To which it said, "Evidently." So then I said, "Oh, where did you learn to talk?" He said, "At school." "So you've been to school?" "Yes." "Where?" "Well, at primary school around the corner." It's a faith school, but that's okay. It's all right. It's a primary school. I went there. I was a bit discombobulated, I think it's fair to say. So I said, "So what happened next?" "Well, I did very well. I'm very clever, very clever." So then I got a scholarship to another school, a secondary school. I went to Eton. Sorry, you went to Eton? Yes. You see, it's not like they say, they have all types there. Even dogs. I said, "Really?" I said, "Yes." "What was it like at Eton?" "I loved it. Couldn't wear the full uniform, but it felt fantastic. It was great." So I said, "Well, I suppose next you went to..." "Yes." "University?" "Yes, Oxford." You went to..." "Yes, Christchurch, to do PPE." So I said, "Sorry, you were at Christchurch, Oxford. You were studying politics, philosophy, and economics." Yes. "Okay, and how was that?" He said, "Well, you see, certain students in their third year are approached, in the final year, by their politics don and asked, 'Would you like to work for your country?'" I said, "What?" He said, you worked as a spy." "Yes." "So you work?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "How do you spy?" He said, "It works very well because no one suspects a dog." And I said, "That's amazing. So where did you spy?" He said, "Well, I was everywhere. I was in Afghanistan, I was in Iraq, I was in New Zealand." At which point the dog seemed to lose interest and just sort of wandered off. So I went out and I found the bloke. I said, "How much for the dog?" And he said, "Oh, I don't know, 20 quid? And I said, 20 quid for a dog like that?" And he said, all right. 15? I said, "You must be kidding. £15 for a dog with that experience. All those incredible experiences." And at which point, the guy's face changed. And he looked at me and he said, "I've got to be honest, mate. You do know that he's just talking a load of shit." True story.
Let's catch up with what's happening at our seaside-based soap opera. It's Great Crustaceans.
They're wild, they're snappy, but they're seldom happy. They came in on the wrong tide, got washed up on the sand. They got nowhere left to hide, so they formed themselves a band. They're great crustaceans, great crustaceans. They're great crustaceans.
There's not much happening on the beach today, and the band's guitarists are killing time in the way that they know best, by winding each other up.
I've got a question for you.
What is it, Ray? I'm busy restringing this bass.
Here we go. Ready? Now, what is your favourite crustacean?
Oh, not again. You keep doing this.
I'm not a crustacean.
Get used to it.
I know, you're a squid. But it's not about that. It's funny. Yeah, bear with me. Look, I'll tell you my favourite crustacean, right? It's King's crustacean. You hear that? King's Crustacean.
So?
So it's funny.
Why?
You want to know my second favourite crustacean?
Not really.
Well, it's Charing Crustacean. Get it?
Oh, Ray, why do you bother?
I don't know. I thought you might like a bit of banter. Banter. See, us being bandmates and everything.
You know, Ray, some creatures in this world are naturally funny.
I know.
And some aren't. Like you.
You're cruel, you are.
In fact, there has never been a funny clam, ever. You clams are famous for only one thing, being the most boring bivalves on the beach.
That's not true. We're not boring. We can be very interesting.
Yeah? Tell me something fascinating. Anything. Or something funny. Go on.
Well, that thing I just said about King's Crustacean, that's clever, that, and it's funny.
Well, it was when we heard it on the radio last week, but not when you said it.
If you're so clever, then you say something funny.
Nah, it's too easy.
Go on. You're a coward.
I couldn't be bothered.
You know, you're all hat and no bananas.
What does that mean?
It means you talk the talk, but you can't walk the walk.
Of course I can't walk. I'm a squid, and I don't like bananas.
Oh, I give up with you. They're wild. They're snappy. But they're seldom happy. They came in on the wrong tide, got washed up on the sand. They got nowhere left to hide, so they formed themselves a band. They're great crustaceans, great crustaceans. They're great crustaceans. We're near the end of the show, and what a journey it's been. But will there be any more fun? I think not. And here's why.
All the good times are past and gone. All the good times are over. All the good times are past and gone. Little darling, don't you weep no more. The singer has left the song on the air. The hunter has hung up his horn. After the day, the long, long night, and after the night, the morn. All the good times are past and gone. All the good times are over. All the good times are past and gone. Little darling, don't you weep no more. I don't want a place at your table so bright. I don't want a bed on your floor. You can't hunt me down through the forests of love and nail up my hide on your door. All the good times are past and gone. All the good times are over. All the good times are past and gone. Little darling, don't you weep no more. Build me a boat where the willows once grew, where the voles and the otters swam free. Row me away from this desolate land. Make for the open sea. All the good times are past and gone. times are past and gone. All the good times are o'er. All the good times are past and gone. Little darling, don't you weep no more. Well done. Thank you, folks. Thank you.
Back in London Zoo's Shag Lab, there's love in the air. This afternoon's encounter had what the scientists like to call a positive outcome, quite literally. And now a happy pair of bazoombis have decided against a post-coital killing spree. Which means it's time to say goodbye to the Big Muddler and its architect, Matthew Crampton. He was helped by pianist Dorian Ford and the wonderful voice of Jan North. But responsibility for this nonsense is really his alone.